When Harold turned 75, his daughter gave him a card that read, "To the wisest man I know, keep living your best life." He smiled politely, but inside, he wasn't sure what that meant anymore. His wife had passed away years ago, his friends had moved or gone, and the big house felt more like a museum than a home. He still cooked his own breakfast, paid his bills, and went for walks, but something inside him was stuck, like he was living out of habit, not joy. One quiet morning, as he stared at the steam rising from his coffee, Harold decided it was time to make a change. Not by adding things to his life, but by letting go of the things that no longer served him. What he discovered became the foundation of his new chapter. 9 things to quit after 75 to live alone, yet happier and healthier than ever before. 1. Quit pretending you can do everything yourself. Harold used to pride himself on independence. "I don't need help," he'd say whenever his daughter offered to pick up groceries. But one day, after nearly falling while carrying heavy bags, he finally admitted, "Maybe I do need a hand sometimes." Accepting help didn't make him weak. It made him connected. He started allowing neighbors to help with errands, and in return, he baked them cookies or shared stories. Asking for help brought community back into his life. 2. Quit keeping things you don't need. His garage was full of memories, old tools, broken lamps, a dusty treadmill he hadn't touched in a decade. One Saturday, he began letting go. "If it doesn't serve my life now, it's just taking space," he told himself. As he donated boxes of clothes and books, the house started breathing again. He felt lighter, freer, and strangely energized. The less clutter around him, the calmer his mind became. 3. Quit skipping meals. For years, Harold often skipped dinner, too tired to cook for one. But one evening, he felt dizzy and realized he hadn't eaten a real meal in 2 days. From then on, he treated meals as small celebrations. He set the table, lit a candle, and plated food beautifully, even if it was just soup and bread. Nourishing his body became a form of self-respect. 4. Quit sitting all day. After his wife passed, Harold's armchair became his world. He sat for hours watching television, barely moving. His back stiffened, his knees ached, and he felt older than his age. Then one morning, he promised himself, no more than 30 minutes without moving. He began walking around the garden every hour, stretching, even dancing while the kettle boiled. Within weeks, he could climb stairs without wincing. Movement wasn't exercise, it was freedom. 5. Quit holding grudges. Old memories can be heavier than old furniture. Harold realized he still carried bitterness toward a friend who'd betrayed him decades ago. One afternoon, he wrote that friend's name on paper, whispered, "I forgive you," and burned it in the fireplace. The release was instant. "I wasted so much peace holding on to what hurt me," he thought. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. It meant freeing himself from emotional chains. 6. Quit saying I'm too old. Harold had always wanted to learn the piano, but he'd laugh it off. "Not at my age." When his granddaughter brought him a small keyboard, she said, "It's never too late." He started practicing 15 minutes a day. The notes were clumsy at first, but soon music filled the house again. Every time he played a new song, he felt alive. Maybe age isn't a limit, he thought. It's a different kind of beginning. 7. Quit watching too much news. For years, Harold fell asleep to the news, wars, scandals, disasters. It left him anxious and sad. One night, he turned it off and played jazz instead. He realized peace began with what he allowed into his mind. Now, he limited news to 10 minutes a day and filled the rest with books, old comedies, and nature documentaries. His mood lifted, and his nights became restful again. 8. Quit isolating yourself. Living alone had quietly turned into loneliness. Harold stopped going to church and turned down invitations, convincing himself people had forgotten him. But one day, a neighbor invited him to a community breakfast. He hesitated, then went and came home with 3 new friends. Soon he was part of a walking group, sharing laughter and stories again. People don't disappear when you get older, he realized. You just have to show up. 9. Quit ignoring joy. The greatest change came when Harold stopped treating happiness as something for younger people. He began noticing small things again: the smell of coffee, the sound of rain, the softness of his favorite sweater. Every day, he found one thing to smile about. He even started a journal called Reasons to Be Glad. On the first page, he wrote, "I woke up today, and I get to try again." Months later, Harold's daughter visited and couldn't believe the difference. The house was bright, clean, and filled with the sound of piano music. Her father looked lighter, stronger, more at peace. "Dad, what changed?" she asked. He smiled. "I stopped holding on to everything that wasn't keeping me alive." Living alone after 75 wasn't about surviving, he learned. It was about simplifying, forgiving, and finding joy in the present. The less he clung to the past, the more space he had for happiness. And for the first time in years, Harold didn't just feel alive, he felt free.